when did you start building that space for yourself, and then when would you say it's been like fully complete, or is it always like an ongoing project of just adding stuff?
Well, that was kind of what I was talking about in the beginning. Like everything's always growing.
Yeah.
So like originally the plan was, so I'll give you the whole story. So this was like a year and a half ago, I guess 2 years ago at this point, and I was just about to move out of my parents' house, um, but and looking for like houses to like obviously either buy or rent or and so I could put a studio in it essentially. Like that was the whole.
Oh, so that was always the
The
plan.
whole plan was to I was at the point in my life at that point I'd been working at Lake House for like two and a half years. I was just like ready to start like having clients of my own and like working on projects that I was like kind of producing as opposed to just like pushing buttons for. Um,
Yeah.
so at that point, I knew that that was like the next step for me career wise, but I couldn't really find like the right space, like that was affordable and like had everything that I needed in terms of the studio. So my dad suggested, he's like, hey, why don't we just like do the basement of my parents' house, of the house I was living in? He's like, why don't we just do the basement and like make it a studio, and then you can just like move out and live in like a normal apartment, like a normal guy that doesn't have to do recording for a living, So, because like that was affordable and like sustainable for me. So it was like March of 20, what was last 2019, I think. March of 2019, we like demoed the whole basement. So we just like ripped everything out, like ripped the floors out, took everything out of there. And then by June 30th, that was the first session I did.
Wow.
So
and I remember you telling me about it,
yeah,
being really stoked on it. I was stoked for you.
yeah, it came out really cool. Like when it first was done, like it was like, I mean, any better than anything I ever could have imagined that I would have. Um, and then like now as it's been setting in, like, I'm like big into like changing things up. So like I'm always like looking to like even in my apartment, like I drive my girlfriend crazy because I'm always like moving furniture, like rearranging things and like out with the old, in with the new kind of guy. Um, so like even from a year and a half ago when I like opened technically, like everything has changed.
That's so exciting, man. Do you have what do you call your studio? Does it have a name?
Not really. I kind of just work under my own name as like a producer essentially. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then but we have like Lampshade Sessions, which is the live session series we do out of there. So like sometimes people will call it like Lampshade Studios, which like I'm totally cool with.
I like that.
What's that, Eric?
I said I like
You
that.
like that? Yeah, I mean, I think that if I ever do like make like an official like name for it or anything, that would be it. But I try to like keep it a little more like low key in terms of like advertising and stuff like that. Like it's more like for me to bring people in that like I like and want to work with, as opposed to just like operating like a normal like studio where like any like crazy person off the street can like come in and like record.
Sure. So I mean, like you don't have a website you'd want to plug or anything like that.
No, really just the Instagram, because like that way like usually people follow me and I can kind of like cycle through who's like seeing stuff and everything like that.
So that would be your. Does Lampshade have an Instagram too? Or is it just
it does, and that one needs more followers, so let's plug that one.
What's the ad?
It's at Lampshade
Follow it
Sessions,
right now.
plain and simple.
Cool.
Yeah.
And who you work with? Chris on that, right?
Chris Kunachuk, the GOAT, as I call him. Yeah,
He's really talented.
dude, he is a blessing in my life. I met him like I met him doing a live session actually.
Really.
But we didn't know each other yet. We both got booked. I got booked to do audio, and he got booked to do video for a live session, and we just met that way. And we worked pretty well together at the time. I mean, like, dude, I remember this so well. So it was like we were doing a live session for Idlewave. You know Guy, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, we should get him on the podcast.
yeah, you should.
Sorry. Keep going.
So we were doing that for them at Lake House, and we just met that way. And then I knew the second that I started my studio, like that live sessions was something that I wanted to do. It's just like always been like my favorite thing to watch of like any band I like. I always want to see a live session. And then like obviously Audio Tree has been like so influential and like having me like discover bands and just like also again seeing bands I like play in like such an awesome like accurate setting. So I knew I wanted to do that, and Chris was just like my first call. I was like, hey man, like we didn't know each other that well at this point. I was just like, hey man, I'm doing these live sessions, like would you want to come like shoot them? And then we just like worked out an arrangement, and they just like came out awesome. So obviously I called them again the next time I did it, and now since then it's become like more of a partnership and not like me being like, hey, I'm doing this, you want to come do it like for me? It's more like Lampshade Sessions is like the two of us. It's not me and then like he films it. It's like really the two of us.
That's great. And I met him once through just a show at the brewery where I think we were playing and somebody was taking pictures.
Yeah.
And even then, his still photography, you see pictures, a couple days later on Facebook, and they were wonderful.
Yeah.
And you reach out and you say, man, thank you for taking pictures, but also like they're really good.
Yeah, dude. And then he's another one. Like from when we started, dude. If you watch the first Lampshade Session video we put out and then watch the most recent one, like it doesn't even look like the same people are doing it.
Wow.
Like, and that's like a year. It's been a year of doing that. Because just like his rig and my rig have just like evolved so much since then that like, and also we've gotten better just doing it. It's not just the gear. Like we've gotten better, and our gear has gotten better. So it's just like everything has just been going up and up, and hopefully it continues.